king who has gone rogue and abusing his powers, or a traditionalist who is merely exercising power over his subjects? The controversial Venda king, Tonimpe Puramabulana, is once again embroiled in a scandal, this time over land.
We don't understand why he is involved because we never even knew about him. I only got to know that there's King Mpepu when I was an adult.
The Magoshas are one of at least two families preparing to defend their ancestral land against King Mpepu and his headmen, who have allegedly stolen their land and colluded with a mining company which now refuses them access to their land.
A month, Florence? Oh, no. If, let's say, it was my grave, I was going to go in right now. I'm telling you right now.
The whole land of Venda belongs to King Mpepu. So all the chiefs have their own portions of land under the king.
Will the current land discussions confront the struggles of people under traditional leadership over their rights to own and access land?
My name is Taka Lani Silvia Makwarela. I'm married to the Makwarelas. I'm Magosha's child. I got married in 1976 and left my family because of marriage. I gave birth to 2 children, but my husband passed away when they were still young. After his death, I didn't know what to do. Circumstances forced me to look for work so that I could take care of my children. I started working as a cleaner. I raised my children under difficult circumstances. To this day, I still work as a cleaner. But now I'm tired and getting old. Also, this job has no benefits. I'm now going on pension, penniless.
Despite having lived in Johannesburg for the past 40 years, Mama Kwarela still longs to go back to farm on and live off her land. But she and her siblings are embroiled in a bitter battle to win back their ancestral land. She used to sweep streets. Now she's tired. Today, she is making another of her many 460-kilometer trips from Johannesburg to the village of Mutimedi in Venda, north of Makhado, to attend a family meeting. Mama Kwarela is the eldest daughter of the late Solomon Magosha, who died last year, aged 84, after a long illness. He was a descendant of the Ndalamo clan. The family says they came from Central Africa, crossed the Limpopo River, and built a royal village at Zata, known as Tabani Zachiendul. They later settled in the Zoutpansberg area, north of present-day Makhado. As the clan expanded, it installed one of its army generals, Musekwa, as its chief. He died in 1830 and was succeeded by his eldest son, Muneleti, who ruled briefly and was succeeded by Chief Shikwibilu. Shikwibilu divided his land and allocated it to his sons. Mupfuluka farmland along the N1 highway was given to his youngest son, Ramatikiti, whose eldest Magosha inherited it. Magosha's eldest son, Solomon, led the clan during apartheid when his land was taken by the government, renamed Tanga and Windhoek, and given to white farmers in 1976. The Magosha clan settled at this village called Hamudimeri, not far from where their ancestral land was. Solomon Magosha hoped to one day get his land back. He continued to long for it, and on his deathbed pleaded with his children to continue his struggle for it.
Minister, they don't care first about the backyarders, ne? And then we are sick and tired, and we are fighting, multi-family issues, ne? That's why we want to go and build our shacks so that we can live with our children.
Our province is on the move all the time. The more houses are delivered, the more people move into our province.
Isibuhlungu ngaphakathi ngiko sesenza intuthu njengaphakathi kwasempumelelo. Izindlu zethu enelempa angeke iziphele singakazitholi izindlu.
My opinion, Mr. Infantino and FIFA, everybody agreed that VAR is not going well. It's not going well, that's the reality. There's a lot of complaints. We just need to know who is refereeing the game, who take decisions in the game. We have the right to know, the people have the right to know.
Young people make up the majority of the people in this country. So why is it that the job market is filled with old people?
We also need someone who can help us with everything. Job opportunities are things that could do.
High levels of violent behavior in our schools, learners physically attacking other learners, learners physically attacking teachers, and teachers attacking learners.
The laws that are governing health today will all have to be amended and be changed. Nothing is going to stay the way it is now.
The 1,000 angikhona ukuhlala 2 weeks ngayo.
I spend 60 rand, return 820, and I work every day, 5 days.
These people cannot continue to hold those offices of government, and also we are calling for them to be removed.
Due to your negligence, many people have died. You must go to jail for murder.
If you want our vote next year, make sure that you do what you are supposed to do.
This is part of the disputed Tanga and Windhoek farms that the Magosha family says was stolen from them.
We lived very bountifully at Tanga and Windhoek farms. We had livestock and lived off cow's milk. We were farming tomatoes and ate very well. We really enjoyed our lives when we lived on our land. As young girls, we would walk a distance to school on foot and back to the farm. We really had a good life there. We had plenty of water from the wetlands. There were no problems at all. That was until we were forcefully removed from our land by whites in 1976. They just kicked us out and grabbed the land from us. Our parents took all of us and found refuge at Mutimeli village. To this day, the family lives at Mutimeli.
But around 2009, the family says it had shocking news.
We were told that our land had been claimed by Chief Hendrik Ntambeleni Musekwa. When we kept inquiring, we got confirmation that the land was claimed by Chief Hendrik Musekwa.
Chief Hendrik Musekwa is a relative whose family was allocated land away from the Magosha land.
They used him and made many promises to him. He didn't know they were using him. When they started shunning him, he was shattered. He was left devastated and even developed dementia prior to his death. When I came to check on him, he would speak from a broken heart that we should follow up on whatever he was promised from that land. Chief Musekwa has really used the old man by taking him to fancy places far from home. There must be something they promised him. When he returned from showing them the land, they drove off with him in fancy cars. They took him to places like Siloam and booked him into hotels so that he could give them all the information they needed regarding the land. They bought him nice things and made him very happy so that they could squeeze all information out of him. He gave them all information about the graves. He told them the dates of death and burial of the family members who are buried in the farm.
Chief Musekwa was unavailable to respond to the allegations, but his son, who is also his successor, Justice Musekwa, spoke on his behalf.
Ezvo azviyo ngaurola muthu ndi muranda ndi wa Musekwa utova ni zvithu zvikouda ngori vathu vava vakovona uri
people are just making things up because there are minerals and other things involved. What we know is that the Magoshas are our people and the land is ours. This means that anyone residing on Musekwa land is our subject. A subject must, as such, submit to the Musekwa royalty. We have not tricked anyone into anything. People just have their own opinions that we know nothing about.
My brother didn't suspect Chief Musekwa of milking him for information. He thought that he was talking to a relative. But Musekwa's henchmen were taking notes as the old man spoke and used his information to hijack the land. They managed to get a title deed for our land in their name. When we later realized that he had played us, we tried to meet with him, but he was avoiding us. He refused to meet us.
What came as more of a shock to the family were allegations that Chief Musekwa was acting as a proxy for the Venda king, Tony Pepu Ramabulana. King Ramabulana has recently been in the news for alleged embezzlement of VBS Bank, which has left hundreds of ordinary investors unable to withdraw their funds. The mine claims the affected communities own 20% share in the mine, but newspaper reports allege that King Ramabulana raked in all the proceeds instead of distributing them to the communities. Mining explorations started on the disputed land in 2006, allegedly without the knowledge or consent of the owners. The mine declined an interview but confirmed ownership of the land. They denied making any payments to any entities. But Chief Musekwa's son also denies that they own the land.
We don't have the title deed because it's still with the white farmers. We're claiming those farms because we don't have the title deed. Why would we claim the land if we had the title deed?
That's what we claim.
We asked Justice Musekwa about his father's involvement with the king. While in the area, Special Assignment learned that the Magosha family is not the only one engaged in a dispute over land with the king. The Kuvule community took both King Ramabulana and Chief Musekwa to court to reclaim their land. Mapungubwe, South Africa's valued heritage site, is also reported to have frustrated the king's efforts to mine closer to it, which would have compromised the historical value of the area. We tried unsuccessfully to get a response from the King of Bavenda, Tony Ramabulana. We are here outside the Bavenda Traditional Council offices where we've been trying to gain access to King Tony Ramabulana. We've been trying to get an interview with him for the past 5 days, but we've been unsuccessful. His secretary has just told us that the king is too senior to speak to us and that we must speak to local chiefs to respond to our queries. He also denied any knowledge or involvement of the king in all matters related to the mine or the land in question.
The Venda King's involvement surprises us as a family. We were told that he said we have no land, but we don't understand why he is involved because we never even knew about him.
And then Neria's Divo Rina Shango and Shango Lash. Bompepo Abongotio Jenape Tungalori, Bompepo Rinariba Divi. Arongo Zudana Wangi Shango Nilash.
I only got to know that there's King Mpepu when I was an adult. We did not even know about Chief Musekwa. I learned about Chief Musekwa in later years. We didn't know these people.
But Justice Musekwa insists that the land belongs to the king and that commoners cannot own land.
Look, the whole land of Venda belongs to King Mpepu. So all the chiefs have their own portions of land under the king. The Musekwas have their own land and the farms are in our land. The people who are trying to sway our people to believe that they own that land are tricksters and fraudsters.
This matter raises questions about the rights of rural communities to own and access land.
Well, the notion of traditional leaders controlling land on behalf of communities is very problematic. Firstly, it's a legacy of colonialism and a legacy of apartheid, but really it originates from colonialism. The idea that communities cannot have their own ways of controlling land is a distortion of African customary law, and it also is in contradiction with the Constitution.
Is he facing conspiracy? What is the nature of the corruption charges that he faces? But if it's a blatant kind of corruption case, he faces a potential 15 years in prison. And lest we forget, his father is in the dock in a few weeks' time, also facing corruption charges. So those parallels between father and son and the regime change in South Africa and what's happening with our courts at the moment will be something that is profoundly interesting, I think, to all South Africans.
They've wasted our time, they've made our members to go on strike, they've made the public to suffer for nothing.
And was ukutya treatment ngenxa intoba imali ayikho.
Fumene 600. Xa ndiphinda futhi ndidrawa ayiphumi ayikho kwakwi-account.
What we are experiencing now is due to the number of people accessing the system at the same time. So if they can just be patient for 3 to 4 days.
Hey, amakhazi asibulele since kusile la Fatimbawula la kuyabanda le goli, and then sesize sa decide ukuthi sivele sibase umlilo khona sokhona nokufudumala kusebenzeki na kahle.
Police killers are not coming from the sky.
they are actually coming from the communities where we are. So it cannot be correct.
We regret what has happened because the strike affects everyone. So is electricity. Electricity also affects everyone. It's a community problem.
We are owing ESCOM. Currently, we could not reconcile the bill, what they bill us, with theirs. We could not agree.
It is the last day before Mama Kwarela returns to Johannesburg. She and her family are hoping to visit their ancestors' graves, but this proves to be difficult. She tries for hours to negotiate entry into the land where mining construction has begun. She is told to fill in forms and fax them to the mine's head office in Johannesburg. Frustrated, she asked the local chief, Mutimeri, to intervene.
A month, Florence? Oh, no. If, let's say, it was my grandfather's grave, I will ask you permission only I will inform you to enter there. If, let's say, no.
He tries to negotiate with one of the mine's executives, but eventually loses his temper.
No. They came to me, Florence. They asked permission. I'm asking permission on their behalf to go there. I know them. They are my subject. Now, Florence, I don't want to, let's say, to tear off the wire there so that they must go in, but I want them. No, I'm not threatening you, man. I will phone the police to escort them to the farm because they're not going to steal. No.
Nandori ndichiyamba naye ndamusumbedzisa uri nawo mapolisa arali vangabvidza mapolisa vavajena namapolisa angeni ativoniwo kakheya ngori ava kotsva chimwe chithu avathu vakuti uri vajene vaite zvine vakuita zvino arali avala vasa vatrust.
I asked them to phone the police to escort them into the mine because they are not going to steal anything. They only want to observe their traditional rights in there. If they don't trust them, the mine must provide them with people who will accompany them in there.
Zvazvino nenda ndikupfuri vakuti uri vatendeliwe vavone angeni hezvo ri vadenga murahu wa mwedzi ndiyambori vachikubva chikuwani anenge kule kule muthu wayo alova abe arali akunyagolova ngori muthu ti vamwe vatenda kuri asvika vidha.
They come all the way from Johannesburg and they told to wait for a month. Some people believe they get their healing from speaking to the dead. So what if a person dies while they are waiting for so long?
Zvino ndikupfuri vava vakhakhela ngori ara mwe achinga dilova nane vala vako vakhakhela.
Chief Mutimeli's village is a stone's throw from the disputed land. He says his father allocated the family a small communal stand.
Family ya Magosha yodha hapa noninga 76.
My father gave their father a piece of land to live on. All his daughters got married and left the village, but we have been living with them peacefully. The Magoshas know very well that we are their chieftains and they report to us. They get whatever they need from the royal house and we are only pleased when they are happy.
An elite task team led by former President Kgalema Motlanthe released its report into the impact of various legislations on communities post-1994. It also looked at the success or otherwise of land policies in the country.
People feel that, through laws we have been denied equitable access to land. So you can't then rationalize that. You must understand that we need to correct this. And the way it was effected was through legislation. So we need legislation to correct it.
But the recommendations on the Ingonyama Trust elicited the most anger, resulting in the state president approaching the Zulu king Goodwill Zwelithini to calm an outburst.
I think that one of the critical issues that South Africa has to deal with is in Ngonyama Trust. And also the fact that other traditional leaders, other kings, also feel that they should have similar dispensation as in Ngonyama Trust. It's not sustainable.
One of the issues raised by the Motlanthe report is the elite capture of land in South Africa.
Elite capture is a system where people with power enter into agreements with investors, with other people who are part of the elite, and agree on projects without consulting their communities. And often, more often than not, the projects that are agreed do not benefit communities.
Meanwhile, Mama Kwarela and her family were finally allowed to enter the farm where they could access some of their graves. The other graves are on the adjacent farm where Coal of Africa has its offices.
The graves belong to our forefathers. My great-uncles, my cousins, and even my siblings are buried there. My mother and father's parents are also buried there, so that is a very sacred space for us. And many other family members are also buried there.
They are not taken seriously by officials because they don't have a title deed to prove their ownership of the land. But experts say the requirement for title deeds discriminates against rural communities.
There are other ways in which people can prove that the land is theirs. And these are mechanisms that are recognized world over. The graves, where are your graves? What narratives do you have? What stories do you have that prove that this land is yours?
Obo chitambera abantu babananga apa bakobona apa hoitwo guba ilila semende obo chitoba damu labudi madeo bachivanga apa lani ange hola no imoona ninge abane pala manje atizi bakozibona emiri bomeri shangalo rindi petune abana manje abayibona petune abana manje.
One of the ways in which clarity can be brought in this is even before drafting legislation, for government actually to bring together people who are able to understand the relationship between customary law, the relationship between communities and land, and how land can be managed and how people's rights can be secured. Because without that, there tends to be a lot of power that is given to traditional leaders. And not all of them do it in that way, but there tends to be a sense that, oh, well, this is my land, these are my people, I can do whatever I should. That's part of colonial legacy. It's part of what this government is supposed to undo.
My father died a very sad man. He always implored me as his eldest daughter to fight for our land. He said, since I know the land of my birth, I should lead the fight to win it back.